but you're my hero.
Now, that was my mom's favorite song.
Oh my God, that's everyone's mom's favorite song. My ex-boyfriend, that was his mom's favorite song too. So
It's the Scott and Alley Not For Air podcast. The rules are gone. The shirt is untucked. Here's Scott and Alley.
Welcome to the Scott and Alley Not For Air podcast. As we start this, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how am I going to balance the next couple of hours?
what do you mean?
Well, so last night, Gavin had an invite to go do a sleepover at a friend's house. Now, we're recording this pretty much mid to late week, and we had talked for a minute about this on the show, that's a bold move, even in the summer, for another parent to say, yeah, I'll take a sleepover in the middle of the week.
Uh-huh.
Well, I found out his buddy, who is really close to Gavin's age, either 9 or 10, one of the two, because they're both like right there. Gavin will be 10 in a minute. And his buddy, though, the reason they had to do it now is going with, I think, the grandparents to Ireland for 25 days.
Now, I have opinions about this because he's 9 or 10, one of the two. And that is a really young age where I don't think you're going to really remember it and grasp it like you should.
But it's also, now, I'm nothing against Ireland. I don't know.
And nothing against his mom and dad. But
no, not at all. Well, it was funny. Even his mom said, I don't know what it's going to be like for 25 days without him, which I can understand. At that age, that's a long stretch, to have something like that happen. Now, I mean, obviously with family and all, so that's fine. But you think about it. If you go to like a vacation like Disney, like let's say the grandparents are like, well, we're going to go to Disney. We're going to take them for a week to Disney.
Yes.
That seems normal. That seems right. You get on a plane and you're gone, for the week. You Disney it up or beach it up a couple days, whatever. 25 days in Ireland. What the hell do you do?
And can you really appreciate it the way that I would at the age of 40? Now, am I saying this partially because I'm jealous? Because Ireland's on my bucket list of places to go? Yes, but
what do you do there?
Tell me how many things you remember about being 9.
Okay, so here's the one thing. I've talked about this many times. Gavin's going to be right about the age that I was when I was a kid, and my parents, we drove across the country by car, and we left from Buffalo, and we took the route that took us through the Badlands, through Yosemite, through Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore. I still remember hiking with my parents in the Redwood Forest in California.
To the Gulf Stream waters?
What's that?
To the Gulf Stream waters. From the Redwood Forest to the... This land was made for you and me.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Actually, I think I was more excited to go to I was very excited to go to the Redwood Forest because, and now here's the nerd coming out. They had just finished filming, maybe recently, sometime within a period of time, Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
We cannot go a podcast or a show without one or the other coming up.
And at a kid like 12, I might have been 10 or 12, somewhere right around there. I forget. I'd have to do actual math to figure this out. But here my thought was, well, this is where they did the Ewok villages and all this. Maybe I'll find something that was left behind, maybe
I'll find an Ewok.
Yeah, something, right? So it was exciting. That's what excited me to go there. Okay, so there was a lot to see in that trip. And I remember it was a 2-week trip. That was a lot of time with my parents in a car driving cross country. So we have
friends that are doing it right now, actually.
Oh, who is?
Our friends Danielle and TJ.
Oh, yes, they are. Yeah. Well, they're partly doing it. Yeah, wow, that's a wild.
Yeah, they went from New York and they're going to Colorado. So that's totally cross country.
Yeah.
And they went down, like they went to like Tennessee. Right now they're in Texas. And they have to be in Colorado tomorrow.
Well, hit the gas.
I know.
Wow,
I know.
Hit the gas. But I do vividly remember that vacation. And there was so much to see. We saw so many different things. Like I said to you, it was boom, 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 boom. And it was a very cool experience. I don't mean to be mean. I'm sure it's beautiful. What's in Ireland besides pubs?
I don't know, except for the Blarney Stone.
That's a day trip.
You can kiss that. I'm sure lots of like seeing countryside.
That's not exciting for a 9, almost 10-year-old.
That's exactly it. And even like the historical, there's got to be so many historical buildings and things that I think that he would appreciate more as a 22-year-old man. as opposed to a 9-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Also, I'm thinking of the money. I'm spending that much money on a 9-year-old. No, I would rather spend money for him to go to
Disney,
the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania, and that
Knoebels,
and then Knoebels, Darien Lake,
maybe Legoland.
Yes, and then when I know that he can really appreciate it, like I've always said, I now appreciate history more in this phase of my life than I ever did, even when I was in high school and middle school. That's when you start to like go, oh, and we've talked about this before. I really took a liking to learning about the Holocaust. And that started in middle school, went to high school. And
did you learn about it for a little bit and then go, I need to know more? Is that how it hit you?
Yes. And we actually just referenced this on the show recently. It was Mrs. Buford, and it was 7th or 8th grade. I don't remember which one. And she had a very intense interest in it too. So I think that bled on. And then, reading the Diary of Anne Frank, I thought that was very, I don't want to say relatable, but like a young girl. So that was like interesting to me because I was a young girl learning about her. So I was like, oh my gosh, what would it have been like? And those are the reasons why I love learning about the Holocaust, or some of the reasons. So a 9-year-old, that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that I just don't think he's going to appreciate.
But not only that, the time of it. If
but he's got all the time in the world.
Well, yeah, but I would get bored with 25 days.
Oh, I don't think
Ireland.
I would. No, I wouldn't. But I also, when we vacation, like when we just went on that vacation recently, we like to find things that the locals do and really engross ourselves into that style.
What, pick up the garbage on Mondays?
Yeah. I just go to people's houses, knock on their door and say,
we'll handle
is it
that.
Garbage Monday? I think that, yeah, that's great. I would not make that decision as a parent for a 9-year-old child.
I hope he enjoys it. And maybe
Sure.
I am way off the mark on this. I just think, for me, I would think that, Disney would be the way to go. That would keep him, because as a parent, a lot of times you have to take those vacations when the kids are younger that kind of fit the kids' desire.
Interests.
You could push it and not do a super kid desired vacation, but you better have a real accessible, fun beach that they can spend a lot of time at. If you went to the Bahamas or something like that, and you got to some beach time, that's one. I
will say kids' interests, I think, are different now because the internet is so accessible to them, and they do get to learn about things at a younger age, or they can watch video after video after video and get really interested. Maybe Carter has a really deep interest in Ireland that I don't know about. And he's been watching, because we will always watch a lot of travel vloggers and we watch their videos. Where did they eat? What were some of the things? Again, what are some of the...
Maybe he'll do a travel blog.
Totally. Maybe they're going to come back and I'm going to be proven wrong. But if I was in this situation, I don't know if I would feed that flower at 9.
I hope he has a blast. Here's the thing I will say. The one thing that I'll say about this is I do give credit to his parents wanting to expose him to different things. I think that's great. I really do. Again, the length though is like, wow, is the kid going to stay engaged? I don't know. I really don't. It seemed like a lot for me. Yeah. If somebody said, hey, listen, we got an extra ticket. You want to go for 25 days to Ireland? I'd be like, and do what?
And can I do 12?
Yeah.
I will say,
do you go on a search for Lucky from Lucky Charms and hope you find him?
It's funny because even when we were vacationing recently, and I think it depends where you're at, and maybe it's because I am at a place in my life where I want to get back to work and my daily life, and I have dogs and all of that. Like all these people who travel for Corning all the time for work. Oh my gosh. Don't you get it to a point on your vacation where you go, I just want to be home. I want to be back home.
If you travel a lot for a company, is your vacation at home?
Right?
Yeah.
But even you, like if you went to, like, say, Scott, you went to Lake Tahoe for a week. Is it after a week you go,
I want to be home.
I want to be home.
Yes.
Yeah. Not everybody's like that. I think if I didn't have Junior, then I wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. And this job is, that's a big factor for me.
Oh, sure. Me too.
But if I didn't have Junior, I said to Zach, I think that my trip in Kentucky in October is going to be the last trip I take for quite a long time until he passes. So I can't imagine 25. Oh my God. So there's this another thing. A girlfriend of mine, her dog just died.
Oh.
And yes. And I think, I'm not sure. She was on, again, she was cross country. She was in like Bryce Canyon or something. She was motorcycling on the West Coast. And she had texted me last week and she said, hey, I just want to let you know that Kiki died. I'm like, okay. I gave my condolences, of course. And then I'm looking at her Instagram and she's on the West Coast. I think her dog died when she was gone on vacation.
Yeah, that happens. They say that animals don't really want to die in front of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll hear the stories, well, they went out back and found a place
and then got lost.
Or just went behind the shed and said goodbye. I've heard that a lot of times that animals will do that. I remember one of my mom's last parakeet, my mom's last parakeet,
Peter, who we reference often.
This bird. There's been
birds.
There were 3 Peters. No originality in name, right?
Right.
So I remember after my mom passed away, and I think Peter had a broken parakeet heart. And I remember,
my God.
I remember that. Now this was.
I don't know if I've ever heard this story.
This is. Oh God, chime the sad music in. This was Peter. I was asked to bring Peter back to Cleveland. I was working in Cleveland at the time after my mom had passed, because who was going to care for Peter? So I'm like, yes, I'll take Peter. I knew Peter, so Peter the parakeet. So I brought Peter home.
Your older brothers were out of the house at this point.
Oh yeah, they're for years married, had their own kids and everything. I mean, their lives were far advanced. So I brought Peter in his cage back to Cleveland. Drove Peter from Buffalo to Cleveland.
You're like, what brings in the poon? Having a parakeet.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget Peter one day. This was now my ex-wife that was living there, and it was we were in an apartment, and she calls me, and I was at the radio station. She goes, I can't find Peter. And I go, what? And she goes, I hear him, but I can't find him. Well, I left the radio station, flew to the apartment. Peter had found, now this is a wild one. Peter went to a place to die. And but we prolonged his life, not by his choice. So Peter was always a fly where you would like to bird. He, the cage door was open and Peter could go where he wanted to go. At least at my mom's house, he always knew he would do a lap around the house and go back to his cage. That was the exercise for the day, right?
Okay.
And at any rate, Peter's door was open. He had flown or dropped to the kitchen floor. Now, under a cupboard, there sometimes is a space between the kick plate and where the cupboard is. And then there's just dead space underneath there. Well, the term dead space comes to mind. Peter, a nice wipe of your face.
This is so sad.
Peter crawled or hopped or whatever into that dead space. I had to, in the apartment, rip off the bottom part, that kick plate, to the cupboard, reach into this, dusty crevice where it was. Peter was still alive. We got him, but Peter didn't seem too, lively. So Peter was, and I don't remember if I had to rush back to the radio station. Anyway, she took Peter to the vet, because now at this point, it's like I had just lost my mother.
Yeah.
I can't deal with losing this stupid parakeet at this point in my life. I'm like, give me a year,
Yeah.
And anyway.
Wait, how long was this after your mom had died?
Oh, not long. It was like
weeks?
Weeks. Yeah, at the
Oh, my
most.
God.
At the most. And Peter never returned from the vet. So, yeah.
So did they put Peter down? Or was he just like there?
I don't remember that
You
part
need
now.
to ask your ex-wife this. I have got to find out this answer eventually, because I get it. You were dealing with a lot of your mom just dying, so you might not know the answer. But I am curious.
It was sad though.
And very and you hear of people putting dogs down or cats down.
Yeah.
So
Not
for
the parakeet.
me, so for me personally, I want to be there with Junior as much as it would break my little heart.
Sure.
But did your ex-wife stay with the parakeet? Did she hold the parakeet wing, or caress it?
I don't remember.
I've never heard of a parakeet being put down. Never.
I mean, we are well past 25, 26 years.
I know.
30 years maybe, somewhere like that. So I don't remember. But
I know you don't remember, but I am kind of curious on that. Like, what happens?
What a random phone call that would be. Hey, I know we haven't talked in a while. Did you stay with Peter when you took him to the vet after he came back from my mom's house and, he wasn't doing so well? She'd be like, what the fuck are you calling me for?
Did you caress his wing?
Yeah. Then I'll be like,
take
Allie
these
wants to know.
broken wings. Did you ever know that you're my hero?
Now, that was my mom's favorite song.
Oh my God, that's everyone's mom's favorite song. My ex-boyfriend, that was his mom's favorite song too. So every time,
only the Bette Midler version.
I know. So every time I hear this song, I always think of his mom, even though I never even knew her. But I'm like, oh, Dale's mom loved this song.
Yeah, same here. Oh, you just brought Betty into the room.
Oh, Betty, R.I.P.
Smacking you upside the head, you making fun of Peter.
No, but you hear of like cows dying and things like that, but that always seems like in the movies.
No, I've never heard of a cow die.
Yeah,
a slaughterhouse, yes,
well,
but I've never heard Betty Lou seemed to have fallen over sometime last. I've never had a conversation with a human on the planet of their cow dying.
You know what? I have a girlfriend. She owns a farm. Her and I'm closer to her husband. I'm gonna text Jer. And I'm going to ask him this. They own a dairy farm locally right here.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go cow cuddling this weekend too.
Well,
I have friends in from Cleveland. And I said, here's some of the things.
Boy, they came for a good time.
Want to cuddle some cows? That's what we do right here in the Finger Lakes.
Wow.
I gave him a bunch of options. Of course, I said like the Gorge, Corning
Forget
Museum.
the cow. I'm going to drop dead.
So I said, we can go cuddle cows. And the first thing that came back in our group text was, I'd love to cuddle some cows.
For about 38 seconds.
You know what, though? The reason I want to go there, too, though, is because they've got that good milk. Like that milk that just came right out of the udder.
I was going to say out of it.
I want some. They now have that, and I don't think I've ever had this. Cream on top milk. Have you ever had this?
No.
No, but I want to try it.
Sure.
And they have chocolate milk, and I bet you it's so good. So I think that's what we're going to do this weekend. You're
going to be a teetotaler?
I'm going to be a teetotaler and a cow cuddler. Yes. But I'm going to ask because, in movies, they always portray cow deaths like,
Hold on. What movie are you watching that has a cow death besides Twister? Cow.
I don't know.
Cow house.
I gotta look this up. I don't know. Hold on.
That's the only movie I've ever heard of a cow dying in. And we're not 100% sure that cow died in Twister.
Maybe it's just too many documentaries on Netflix about. All right. Yes. Okay. This movie came to mind, and I'm glad I should have just said it. No Country for Old Men. How they have that one gun.
I didn't see it.
You know that one gun where it's like boom. I don't know, a silencer. It's got a silencer on it.
Yeah.
So that one. And
what, did he miss the person and shoot the cow or something? Or
No. Wait. Oh, wait. And don't forget about Kung Pao. There is a cow fight. Now that's obviously animated.
Well, that doesn't count.
Anyway, I am going to ask Jer, how does that work?
Not an action sequence you see all that often is a cow dropping dead.
No, but maybe I just assume that that's exactly what happens. When it's time for a cow to go, it's a doom. Yeah.
I'm thinking, are they all put down or do they just boop right over?
I assumed that there was some wailing. I don't know why.
Like as in the cow screaming or?
Yeah, as in they're hurt and they're dying. And so it's like,
move over, St. Joseph. I'm coming up. Jesus.
I can't talk about death anymore. I can't.
I'm trying to figure out how you invented cow death stories in movies.
In my head, I guess.
Yep, you invented this. Okay,
let's go on the last thing. So this is from an Am I an asshole on Reddit. So I'm going to read you the scenario.
Okay.
And tell me how it settles with you. Okay. This woman asks if she, a woman asks if she is an asshole, for wanting her boyfriend's brother to pay for her broken sex toy, because boyfriend's brother's dog chewed it up. So, brought the dog over.
Okay.
Dog got into, for some reason, found the sex toy and then
I'm
chewed it up.
assuming it had to have been somewhat out because the dog doesn't have opposable thumbs to open a nightstand.
No, but I would assume you're right. It's probably like either on a sink because it just got washed, on a nightstand on top, or it was just laying on the bed. But these things aren't cheap. So whose fault is it? Who pays for the broken sex toy? The brother's, the boyfriend's brother because he owns the dog? Or is it my fault because I left it on a sink, on a nightstand, on a bed?
Well, yeah, it's going to be more your fault.
Me, the sex toy owner.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is the dog is just doing dog things, sniffing around. And let me tell you, I have not met a dog that will not take a pair of women's underwear and run with it.
My God. I went to visit friends the other day.
I mean, if I did that, people would be like, he's really disturbed.
Their dog was so far, their dog's nose, like as soon as I walked in the backyard, whoop, like right to the crotch. And then I was like, stop it. So then all of a sudden, stop it.
Get away.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, the nose is, it's one of those standard poodles too.
Oh.
The snout is in my butthole. It's like, I haven't had this much action in like 3 weeks. Come on.
You look down. Listen, boo-boo.
Rosie. Yeah.
Rosie. Listen, Rosie, we do dinner first before this happens.
Exactly. Okay, back to his scenario at hand.
I think it's okay. I genuinely, I can understand her anger at the fact that the dog did this, but if the dog was over, by invite, let's say, it's probably one of those conversations between the guys where it's like, well, I'm taking Skipper to, we're out and about. Do you care if I just bring him along? No, bring him along. This and that. Well, dog's going to do what a dog's going to do. They're going to explore. They're going to sniff. That's the dog thing that they do. Yeah. And if the boys, and I can envision this happening, they get into a PS5 game. They're in there playing away, and the dog's off doing its thing. No fear of having an accident in the house because it's an older dog. It's figured out life. It knows to go outside, whatever the case may be. Right. But then
Charlie's a good boy.
Yeah, it finds a treasure. And
something that's got a distinct smell and taste to it. Yeah.
So I think it's not the fault of the dog owner because the dog's just doing what the dog's doing. It could be two different angles that you could look at. You could look at the boyfriend or husband, whatever you said it was, boyfriend that lives with now said down one sex toy lady. You could blame him for not going around and shutting the bedroom door. That would be the first thing, because you could, if you're going to try to get anybody to pay for this thing, you could go and say, you're going to owe me, I don't know how much they cost. You're going to owe me.
Let's say it's $100, which is, or $150. Let's say it's my good one.
Well, okay. Wow. You got to think. Well, I'll come back to that point. Let me get back to that. Let me finish this point.
Okay.
Blame him first. Blame your live-in partner first for not going through and shutting the door. Dog's just doing the dog's thing, right?
Yeah.
You could, but she shares some blame too.
Yep.
Because, I'm not a person. I'm a kind of private person when I'm not on the show or doing a podcast.
Yeah.
If it were me, I wouldn't have it out anytime. You never know who's going to show up.
Oh, please. But
seriously.
If it's drying on the sink or, because.
You can't wipe it down with a towel and put it back in the nightstand.
Sometimes you got to let it air dry for a little bit. Or, something was happening the night before. We might have cleaned it, whatever, and then went to bed. And the next morning I'm rushing around for work.
Okay. The possibility's there. I'm more private than that. If it were my house and I was using one, I know, makes the mind wander. Then,
yeah, it's really wandering.
Yeah. Then, I'm going to put it away. For me, that one, that's kind of on her too.
Sorry, not everyone's so organized as you. Well, I will tell you. So one of the things that I've always said
instead of a gun rack, I have a dong rack.
Yes. Yes. One of the things that I've always said is if my dog causes the damage, then I pay for it. And so you can insert anything. When I've even had somebody else's dog hurt my dog. So they paid for the vet visit.
Understandable.
Just recently, we have a puppy named Fritz, and Fritz chewed my sunglasses. So Zach said, I'm going to buy you new sunglasses.
Okay.
Fritz is more his dog, and Junior's my dog. We kind of keep it a little separate in that way. Like, I take care of him, but when it comes to things like that, if my dog does damage, then I just pay for it. And even though I see what you're saying, why wasn't it put away? But there's so many reasons why I think I didn't have to put it away, especially if I'm at work right now and you guys are playing World of Warcraft or whatever you're playing, or Red Dead Redemption, and you're not watching Charlie, the dog. All of a sudden, the dog's name is Charlie, by the way. And so you're not watching Charlie. So here I am. I'm like innocently at work, not knowing this is going on.
That's the only place you're innocent with what's laying out on your bed.
Because if I was home and knew that Charlie was coming over, then I probably would have put it away. So I think that, and now here's the worst part. You
got to go without so you can get back to the adult outlet?
Well, that, and the boyfriend has to say something to his brother and say, hey, Charlie chewed on Alicia's shaky toy. So you owe us $120.
No, he doesn't, because if anybody's to blame more, it's the live-in boyfriend. If you are gonna lay blame on anyone, you have to lay blame first on the live-in boyfriend for not shutting the bedroom door. Really, that's the big argument. Nobody has business going in the bedroom unless your house is on the market for an open house. Other than that, there's no business going in there. The fact that it was open enough that the dog got in there, that's not the dog owner's fault that had an invite to come over with the dog and play Red Dead Redemption. Yeah.
Yep.
So truly, I'm a gamer. Can you tell? What were they playing? Super Mario?
Mario Kart.
Yeah, right.
Which actually they're playing. So.
Which actually is a fun game.
Yeah.
But the one or two I play. So that being said, it's more the boyfriend's fault. If you're going to blame anybody, he's responsible to get it because he did not do his job. But that's the only person responsible. The dog's just dogging it up. Now, if it was physical harm to a child, like bit the ankle or something, you're paying the medical bills. Yeah, that's your dog that did that.
Right. Or if I was home and it was me that didn't close the door, then I guess I have to do is blame myself.
You do.
Even though I will tell you this, if Charlie came over and chewed my beautiful high heel shoes, I would expect my boyfriend's brother to buy me a new pair of high heeled shoes. But maybe that's because those are out by the door. So this just happened actually.
You might have me on this one. I might say, yeah.
Over the winter time, our coworker Sam came over for some cocktails and some hangs. And we went to give her a tour of the house. We left Fritz downstairs and she had these beautiful white boots. And while we were upstairs, Fritz chewed him. He was like, woo, fresh meat. So I paid for her new white boots.
Oh, wow.
She felt bad. She's like, no, you don't have to. I said, yes, I do. Yeah. We didn't put your shoes away. He obviously, there's something about
put Fritz away.
Right. Fritz has got expensive taste.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll accept that. That is.
Because that's a communal area.
Yep. You're right. Absolutely right. But because it was more private setting or what should have been more private setting, I feel that it's really more, if you're going to blame anybody, blame the boyfriend because you're gone and you have to trust him to uphold the standards of the house, if you will, while you're not there. You know, and sorry, that's his fault.
So now he owes me $150.
Yeah.
And you can Venmo me.
And now I want to come back to the fact.
It does not come out of our joint account.
I got to tell you, those are well priced. I mean, and I'm going to use a very punny phrase, but the bang for the buck you get out of a $150 toy and the longevity of that, you got to figure the pricing on that. They could probably charge way more.
I say the same thing about mattresses. People complain about the price of a mattress because they can be. Like ours, I think was $2,000.
Yeah, you're laid out on it every night for 10 years.
Exactly. That's what I say. I would rather spend $2,000 on a mattress and it hurt a little bit. But then as long as, and we sleep good.
Yeah.
I love our both. So I have a mattress that I got and I spent $1,800 on it. It was with an endorsement actually. Great mattress. And every single person who stays in our spare bedroom, they're always like, oh my gosh, I love your mattress. Yeah, because I paid the money. Zach came into this relationship, he had a $2,000 mattress. Again, love it. They don't feel the same, but they're both well worth the investment.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So's a good toy.
But that we've learned that exactly. All right, I gotta go. I gotta go pick up one kid, then go get dogs to take to because
we don't need the list.
Well, this is cute though. There's a fascination in Finn the puppy, and
of course.
Carter wants to see Finn. So now I'm going to get Lydia to get Finn to take him over to pick up Gavin and show off the puppies. So that's
you know,
next.
you still haven't even brought Finn into the studio, have you?
I know. I have to. I can now. No, I didn't yet. I can now. He's got a first round of shots in that, and he's doing.
Oh, you thought I'd give him rabies?
Well, yeah. Well, that too. No, the first 2 weeks for poor Finn were tough. I think I told the story on the show. He was very much a rescue in the jaws of death. Little guy should probably not have been separated from his mother yet, but then the people.
Or he wouldn't have lived though if he wasn't.
Well, that's true, and the people that had him already had pretty much discarded the litter because, well, he was the only survivor, and they were kind of pitched into a barn. So these other big dogs,
these sound like total a-holes.
I really hope I never meet the people that ended up, bearing
discarded. Discarded.
That's the only way I can describe it.
Ew.
This is what I was told anyway, but I think he was too young to have left his mom, and well, that's why Ginger became Finn's mom for a little bit.
This is why I always say, I don't know if I can have another dog after Junior, but my best friend, he rescues old dogs all the time. He's got an old lady, Darcy, and he's like, there's too many to save. Mm-hmm. You will. Yep.
You will just for the, you may not right away. Wow. Why are we back to death?
I know.
But listen, the good news is it's almost to a degree, a bit of the healing, if that makes sense.
I've heard that.
I mean, I wouldn't say if Junior goes Friday, Monday, you're out getting a puppy, but or another dog. But I think that you will because it just feels right. I think all different stretches of time between dogs going and new ones coming in the home, and this has been a while for me.
I think you're right, as much as I don't want to admit it, because when Zach lost his dog Dami, then right away his mom was sending him links to like German Shepherds or something like that, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, like it's only been like a couple days or a week or whatever.
Let me breathe."
But then Fritz came in, and now Fritz is like the love of his life. You should see it.
Yeah, so I believe it. It'll happen.
I come home from work and I'm like, "Oh, hi, babe," and he's like, "Hi." Fritz. Oh, Fritzy. Daddy loved you so much. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, it's a good thing you have that $150 sex toy to be able to get your mind off of it. Until next week, my friends.
Ta-ta.
Well, that was fun. Wasn't that fun? That was fun. Do us a favor, will you? Subscribe. Share the Scott and Allie Not For Air podcast. Touch our buttons. We know you want to.